My top 10 favorite Bob Dylan songs. Bob Dylan is probably my second or third favorite artist of all time. You know, the Beatles is the number one, you know, Beatles plus Beatles solo careers. But he has to be number two or three. My top 10 favorite songs, so an honorable mention would be, because it's a live version and in the top 10 it should be strictly for studio versions, I would say. And with my honorable mention, it's really the version, you know, not the song necessarily as a song piece of songwriting, but I really love the vibe of the version, the energy. It's Baby Let Me Follow You Down from the famous Last Waltz concert and soundtrack, movie, live album. You know, the famous The Band album. I'm not a big The Band fan, but this version, Baby Let Me Follow You Down from the Last Waltz, Bob Dylan at his most rock and roll sounding, and the Last Waltz is in general a great performance by him also, his songs during that concert. But now the top 10, which is only studio versions. Number 10 is One More Cup of Coffee from Desire, which is I once ranked the Bob Dylan albums, but I think I delisted that video because I wasn't really satisfied. The recording quality of the video wasn't really good. It was one of my first videos. I have to redo this video at some point, you know, my favorite Bob Dylan albums, or maybe ranking all Bob Dylan albums. Maybe I will do this in the future. But I think Desire, in that video at least, was my second or third favorite Bob Dylan album. And One More Cup of Coffee is one of my favorite songs of that album. You know, it has this kind of esoteric gypsy vibe, you know, the whole album, but this song especially. It's a very cool, mysterious sounding song. Number 9, also, speaking of mysterious sounding songs, A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. I think this has to be the oldest song on this list. Must have been released in early '64 on the Times They Are Changing album. It's my favorite song from that album because it's not just a political protest song like many songs on this and the next album, which is one of my favorite albums, the Free Will and Bob Dylan. But this is also more of a mysterious quality, one of those mythologically, religiously sounding Bob Dylan songs where he comes across almost like a prophet, and you know, one of the more misunderstood sides or aspects of him, Bob Dylan, as an artist. Number 8 is My Back Pages, from maybe, in my opinion, the most underrated, at least of the classic phase, 60s, 70s, the most underrated Bob Dylan album, Another Side of Bob Dylan from late 1964. I think there's a much more famous version of that song by the Byrds. I say I think because I haven't really consciously ever listened to that version. I'm not really into like with the band, I'm not really a fan of the Byrds. Usually I liked Bob Dylan's versions more than cover versions, but My Back Pages, I think, was a hit for the Byrds. But as I said, I only know the Bob Dylan version, and I really don't need to listen to a cover version of that song because I really love that original, and I don't think a cover version can ever surpass the meaning that the song has for me to Bob Dylan's version. Number 7 is Positively 4th Street, which was a single-only release. Must have been one of the very few, if not the only, time when Bob Dylan had a single that wasn't part of an album, but it's from that classic 65, 66 phase in his career. It also has this sound of that era of the Highway 61, Like a Rolling Stone era, which is one of my favorite Bob Dylan eras. And in that sense, you know, at the beginning of the video I told you that I'm not a big fan of the band, but that was when they were the Hawks, and that incarnation I kind of liked them backing Bob Dylan. And it's a very cool sounding song with very cynical lyrics. And as someone who's also kind of working in the show business, entertainment world, you know, I don't talk about my job on this channel, but you know, I'm kind of working in that area as well, and I really can relate to that bitter lyrics about sycophants and people going around you behind your back and backstabbing and stuff like that. That's something I'm very familiar with from a professional point of view, and really like that side of Bob Dylan, also that bitter side, that cynical side to him. Number 6 is the opposite. It's also from this phase in a way. It's from the Bringing It All Back Home album, early '65, but it's Dylan at his most uncynical, I would say. That's the romantic Bob Dylan that I also really love. It's Love Minus Zero, especially love the version where he's playing it in a hotel room. It's for this Pennebaker movie, and you can also see Donovan sitting there in that hotel room. And yeah, but I also like the version as it is released. Great romantic love song. Then number 5, Green Jane, Approximately. That's almost a blueprint to what Velvet Underground would do. Not much after that. Not long after that. I think that's a song that Bob Dylan haters will really hate a lot, as much as Bob Dylan fans will love it, because all those aspects that haters of Bob Dylan, always go on about, they are very strongly ingrained in this song. It's not very tuneful. I think at least one, if not more than one, instruments are out of tune. Especially the guitar, I think, is kind of out of tune, and it's a very drony sounding song, and that mid-60s Bob Dylan singing thing that Bob Dylan haters often say that they hated about Bob Dylan. That's this and Visions of Johanna and Sooner or Later. Those are the songs, or Stuck Inside of Mobile. That kind of Bob Dylan voice. That's that song. And as a fan, of course I love it when he's doing that almost self-parody kind of voice. Number 4 is more serious song. It's Sarah. It's I think the sequel, the part 2 to Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands from 10 years previously. And Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands was, like a love song to Sarah about being in love with her. This is the separation song. This is the divorce song in a way, and it's Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands even gets name checked in the lyrics of that song. It's also from the Desire album, like One More Cup of Coffee, and it's my favorite song from Desire. Number 3, Keep It Short, because it's probably the biggest, or one of the 2 or 3 biggest classics of Bob Dylan's career, like a Rolling Stone. You have to have this song in the top 10 of Bob Dylan songs. Maybe it's like Stairway to Heaven with Led Zeppelin or something like that, that it's almost too overplayed or too overhyped for diehard fans, but it's still a fantastic song and one of the best songs of the 60s by anyone. Number 2, maybe the most deep cut or dark horse track in my top 10, If You See Her, Say Hello. That's to many people I would say, one of the most underwhelming or uninteresting songs on his big masterpiece album Blood on the Tracks, but it's my favorite song of Blood on the Tracks. I don't know why. I think it's the mood of the song. It's not one of those songs with very clever lyrics. Those are very direct lyrics, I think. And nothing special happens in that song, but it's really the mood, and I think it's this kind of mood that encapsulates the whole album the best, I would say. So what I love about Blood on the Tracks is mostly ingrained in this song. And my number 1, I've already mentioned it when I talked about Sarah. It's Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands. I would say it's my favorite love song of all time, and Blonde on Blonde is also in my top 3 Bob Dylan albums. I would say my top 3 Bob Dylan albums would be Blonde on Blonde, Highway 61, which is my favorite, and Desire. And this is my favorite song from Blonde on Blonde, and also my favorite song of that, the great trilogy in the mid-60s. I think this is the magnum opus, this 10-minute plus 10-minute song. It's longer than 10 minutes, and it's one of the best romantic love songs of all time. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time. Goodbye.